Oh, good morning, evening, etc., 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 etc. Hope everyone's having a good Sunday. More regular streaming time for us. Hello, Julian. We'll wait for some people to roll in. Emery, good to see you. Hello, hello. I think one big relief, everything seems to be working. I decided quite, not too last minute, but definitely today to redo all my home networking as I put in a new router and sort of out new networks. So I was a little bit skeptical whether this would work, but it seems everything seems to be working okay, so that's good. Eben to you too. Let's be rolling. Then we'll start. Apparently I am unstable on Twitch. I don't know what that means. It can only be a good thing. Okay. So I'll remember to press the button today. I think last stream. No, I know last stream. Try it again. We end up with this. So this is a character controller in its very most basic form. It doesn't really do a lot. So if I need to reach this logging, if we rerun this, it doesn't really interact much with the physics. So it's there. It doesn't roll over. It's kind of rendered through the physics debug, but not really. It's not particularly useful to us at the moment because so many barrels. I kind of expect this. So the goal is to anchor the camera to the character controller. So when we move around, it moves the character controller, or moving the character controller moves the camera, I should say, and it can interact with some of these. We're not supposed to kick them around. But again, at the moment, when we saw at the beginning, if we just dump all the barrels down, they just kind of fall through it. So I think there's more work to be done. I'm not entirely sure what that work is. We're going to figure that out today. So today's job is to continue working on the character controller, fill out some of the functionality, get it to attach to the controller. Then, so at the moment in the game, such as it is, we have kind of two modes. We have this normal camera mode, and then we have which with the debug layer, and then we have the fly mode, which connects the mouse to the orientation of the camera and allows us to fly around. So I think we're going to probably want three modes. We're going to want an actual player mode, so within the confines of the game and the physics system, etc., etc. We're going to want like this mode where the mouse is not influencing the game anywhere, but you can still kind of move around. And then we're going to want like a free camera mode. I think that's kind of what, and we should be able to cycle between them. And that's kind of what I'm going for the debug. So yes, that is indeed a lightsaber in the background. I was at Disney World recently, and my one indulgence there was to build a lightsaber. And of course it is purple. Okay. It's pretty sweet. Okay, let's have a look. Where are we now? So I think we need to go back to the Jolt documentation, or at least the Jolt samples, because I meant to off-stream finish building their samples so we can have a play around, but I didn't. Queco, resubscribe. Thank you very much. Glad you're here. So let's see, Jolt character controller. Yeah, so I'm planning on, this comes up a lot, about whether I'd open source it. I think the answer is yes, but I want it to be in kind of a state where I'm happier to share it with people, if that makes sense. At the moment, it's a bit of a mess. It's not It's not great. Obviously, it's open source in the sense that you could just go back and watch all the streams, because I've only committed stuff that I've written live, so all the code is there. After the character controller is done, I think it might be in a place where we can kind of tidy up a little bit and open source that. I don't want to open source the whole game, because it might be something that it's not going to be a great game, but it might be something that I want to list on itch.io or Steam or something at the end of it. Just as a kind of to go through that process as well of how to actually probably package up stuff into a release build and get it out there. So I probably won't open source everything. Also, I'm using a load of assets which I don't have the rights to redistribute. So it might be that we kind of open source some of it and then some of it remains closed source. I haven't really decided yet. I guess a lot of it is as part of the streams, just chatting and going through it, and I'm happy to stop and answer questions and go over any bits of code. So, if people are interested in how bits work, we can always kind of go over that again. But yeah, my plan is I'd like to release something at some point, which is a very nebulous kind of promise, which is my favorite kind of promise. Okay, so we were going through this last time. Somewhere is the... yeah, you're very welcome. So someone was just saying thanks for kind of the streams and going through C++ and it's pushed them to learn a bit of C++ and they've just landed an internship for C and C++. I think that's great. Congratulations. I hope the internship goes well. I'm sure you will learn lots. It's always like the best way to learn is from other people. So congratulations on that, and I hope you all the best. Interesting that you say C/C++ role. That normally they're not as common as people say they are when they kind of just write C/C++. So be interested. Definitely come back and tell us your experience and how you're getting on with it. Okay, so somewhere in samples, maybe, question mark, tests. I think they call it tests. Here we go. Character. So we're using a character, a virtual character, I think, something like that. What's it? What do they call it? Or character virtual, which is the kinematic character controller, i.e., rather than existing within the world of physics, within the world of the physics simulation with adding impulses and forces, we move it around and then have to manually resolve the collisions ourselves or have to do some extra work. It means the collision detection and response is more complex, but it gives us a much more fluid, a much more natural feeling character to control. So yeah, hope that makes sense. Okay. So I think all we can really probably do is just look through the code and figure out how they do it. What? I don't know if we ever got to the bottom of the problem with why I couldn't build their code. Because it's kind of nice to see this in action. I'm going to give that one more go. I don't want to spend too long trying to build someone else's code because it's not really why everyone's here. But I'm interested to know, like, why? So it's probably the VS22 one I want. Here you go. So if I just go into the build directory, what if I just run their command? I suppose it's probably expecting that to be from PowerShell, isn't it? cd build cmake ... -a. I didn't think you had to specify that. -a 64. Yeah, I just... Oh, hang on, I'm going to need cmake cc. I need to settle that, don't I? Yeah, it could be the WSL weirdness. Yes, I have 2 cats. For someone asking what pets I have 2 cats. It complained about like the precompiled header files last time, which is strange because I didn't think I was using them. That's a lie. I had not configured anything to use that. And there's nothing in like the... That is the unit test. So how do I build it without tests? There should be like... I'm sure somewhere there's... Here we go. Cannot open compiler intermediate file. What is that? That is a very strange message. None of this is useful. Oh, it does seem to suggest I want that A flag. Dash A x64. Maybe I will need to do this in something that's not this. Not support platform specification. How strange. I have 100% built this before. Okay, there's one other thing I can try before we give up. But I would just like to see it running, just get a feel for how it's working. CD build. All right, what was the build instructions? It was something like Windows CL default compiler, run cmake vs22 cl.bat. Okay, just running some PowerShell now, see if that makes a difference. I think my MS build tools are a little bit out of date, but it should. I think this only requires C++ 17 ? So it should be okay. Oh, I've got to open the SLM file. MS build. Do I have any of the? Oh, hang on. Where did it put it? CVS. CMake build. There you go. Yeah, it doesn't. I don't know why it just doesn't. Like, this isn't through WSL. This is just through PowerShell. It doesn't like this. Whereas it's going to kind of annoy me because I feel like I should be able to build their code. Literally no one has ever had apparently this issue at all. I don't know what I'm like. Am I just being stupid? Am I? Yes, I can. I don't think I've got Visual Studio installed, which is the problem. I think I only ever install MS Build because I never need VS. I never need the full Visual Studio. Where's temp? Alt build. Yes. Open. Open folder. I have definitely run the samples before, unless I like hallucinated it. I'm pretty sure I've just done something very similar to this. Yeah, I mean, it's... I kind of feel like I should be able to configure it to build it without tests, because it seems to be only in the tests that it's having the issues. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of... Oh, that's crashed. That's off screen, but it's crashed, so let's not worry too much about that. I'm not going to spend too long on it, because again, I don't think that's particularly interesting for anyone, but like this is a legitimate problem people will have when they go to build things. Like just generally, like building other people's code is always a nightmare. Where did I find the compiling build section? Here we go. General options. It baffles me you can't disable the tests. Here we go. I want the samples, I just don't want the have I got to do that in the configure stage? Here, dash d equals 0. It's definitely less, although some of them might just be precompiled. Is there any meaningful difference between MSVC and GCC? Yes, there are, because they both have different supports for the standard. So I guess like what you can do with them will differ. Traditionally MSVC tends to be better with the library features. STL, as in the man himself, and his team does a pretty good job at keeping up to date. GCC tends to have quite better support for the language features. Without really diving into like the outputs of both of them, it's kind of really hard to say. I know a lot of places ship prod code on GCC, but then they deploy to Linux, so that you're going to be better off doing that anyway. I think if you're learning, it's right. Okay, I'm bored of this now. I think if you're learning, it's largely irrelevant. Pick one that allows you to use the features you want to test with. I think if you're at the point where you deeply care about the outputs for performance reasons or for your production environments, then you probably have enough domain knowledge to kind of make that kind of decision anyway, or figure it out. So yeah, hopefully that kind of answers your question. Okay, right, we'll have to look at their code then. I'm very reluctant to drop this because it really annoys me I can't solve it, but at the same time I don't want to spend 2 hours trying to build someone else's code when I just want to see how it works. How are we doing? We're doing okay. I could just go and modify there. Hang on. Because it definitely doesn't like it in the... Oh no, it's even in the viewer and the sample. Okay, it literally doesn't like anything. Intermediate file. No such file or directory. Where? So hang on. Am I just in the wrong directory? So it's looking in build. What's interesting is that this B is an uppercase B. So I wonder if this is a path, like a casing issue. But then that wouldn't explain why it wouldn't worked in PowerShell. Because look here, temp jolt physics build. So I'm in the build directory now. So test CMake files. See, this is interesting because it's looking for build CMake files, and I definitely don't have this here. But do I have it here? No. So what's... CMake -s.-b build. See, now it's building a precompiled header. Interesting. Well, it's not doing anything at the moment, but well, you see, look, it's looking for this file here, but it's not. So precompiled headers are just like an optimization that you can do to kind of, again, effectively cache the compilation of a lot of your header files, especially if they're common. I'm not that well versed in it, I must admit, but the fact that I can't find it means it's either not built it or produced it, so there's a dependency order issue, or I'm just in the wrong place. Let's just do find dot type f name. Not that. Like, does this actually exist anywhere? So they do exist within the build directory, but it's saying it can't find this. Is this a case sensitivity issue between WSL and Windows? Because it literally exists at the point it's saying it should, right? Build cmake files jolt viewer dir cmake cxx. So if I go into build and do cmake files. No, I'm aware. I am aware that Linux is case sensitive and Windows isn't. I'm wondering if that is the underlying issue. That, but if you look here, I definitely have the Z drive mounted. Yeah, otherwise we'd be having a whole host of issues. Well, you've joined us at an interesting juncture because I'm failing to build what I would consider to hopefully be not too, well, it's a complex project, but I'd hope it would be quite easy to build. Yeah, I just, what I find strange is that the path here is correct in terms of the casing, right? We've got uppercase build, uppercase CMake file, or Pascal case CMake files, blah, 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 blah. And then it's like, oh, I cannot, this file doesn't exist, and then it's got it lowercase, and that will not, this file will not exist. But how is it translating one of those to the other? There's no, I cannot foresee any system where it'd be like, oh, I know I need to make this letter, and this letter lowercase. Do you know what I mean? Unless it's just lowercasing the whole thing, potentially. Like, I'm interested to know if, I see, I'm kind of curious now. You see, so this is everyone's referencing this file, okay, and they all look correctly cased. And I don't think there's any way of disabling it that I've seen. What is going on? Here we go. What's this? Code coverage on the moment precompiled headers. So if the generators not config release coverage. The Ninja multi-config configurator errors out when selectively disabling precompiled headers for certain configurations. So what is this? Can I just like not precompile the headers? Can I just be like mvim CMake list? Maybe? That's still doing it, isn't it? Unless the only thing is that wonder if I have to just blow the a lot away and then it's looking better. When in doubt, just delete the code that's causing you problems. Ah, rats. Unless that is used elsewhere. What was it called? It was like target precompiled headers. So what's SG target pre? Doesn't seem to. Okay, it doesn't seem to be used anywhere else. So okay, I think I may have exhausted all the avenues. Like, this is absolutely a solvable problem. We should absolutely be able to build this, but I just don't think it's particularly fun for anyone to watch me try and build this anymore. Where is this CMake? Where is this file coming from? Yeah, potentially they just can speed up the but obviously it's having some issues building it. It builds it and then it fails to then use it for somewhere else. So where's that? So what is all this gubbins? It's like a dot. So much configuration exists. If MSVC, use static, that's fine. I don't want any of this anyway. This is not. It's not having a great time. I just want to see it. I just want to see how it interacts. I just don't get where this. Where's this? Is it all in one CMake file? Is everything in one? Surely not. Because what I want to see is where does this? So it's trying to build the viewer, right? So let's just jolt viewer. Here we go. This has a .cmake file. No. I think this is all relatively like toolchain independent now. It's just like here's where the files are and how to build them. Still bloody doing it, isn't it? Last thing, if I can't just get rid of all the crap that I don't want, then we'll just go back to figuring it out ourselves. It's just annoying. Yeah, same issue with the samples. Is why is it trying to build all this shit? Yeah, it must be to do with the tool chain. I don't really understand. It's kind of annoying I couldn't get to work in PowerShell though. Z temp jolt build arm. Like some PowerShell commands are the same and some are not. Okay. Yeah, it's just the same. It's the same issue whether you build it in PowerShell or not. No such file directory as build. And this definitely this has it, right? Well, I probably need to just build it entirely outside of WSL and see if that works. But users, members. But enough of that. We'll just figure it out ourselves. Yeah, I removed all the calls to target precompile headers, so it's unlikely to be. That's one of the things we tried. Anyway, let's just see if we can figure it out ourselves. So what's the code? I've lost my. Where's my window gone? There it is. Right. Okay. So let's go back to the samples. Again, we can't see what it does, but I assume it can interact with objects. Otherwise, it'd be a pretty rubbish character controller. So you got the pre-physics update, which is drawing stuff. So you got to update the character position. So this is interesting because it's got like broad face stuff in it. Draw the state of the character, draw labels on ramp. What I want to see is like how does it. So handle input. It. Update the character's rotation and its up vector to match the up vector set by the user input. So we will be doing that, but they just have. So you just set the rotation, which we can do. I don't know if we will need to. We probably should. So a cheaper way to update the character's ground velocity. The platforms that the character is standing on may have changed velocity. Again, I'm not too fussed about that because we're all on one platform. Determine the new basic velocity. So it gets the linear velocity. So I think this might be handling like the wall slidiness. Move towards ground. If it's on the ground, which we already are, always are, because I want to keep this simple. We're not doing jumping or anything like that for the moment. S character, enable character inertia. We don't care about the slopes. So we set the new velocity to the ground velocity, which might have changed. Jump, 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 new velocity, current velocity. So then you have to manually apply gravity. Here we go. Take the desired velocity and apply it to the new velocity, preserve the horizontal velocity. Then I think you just call set linear velocity, and then when you just stop when you don't want to. This might be handling like the weird wall stickiness issue. I don't really know, but I think ultimately we should be able to just we should be able to effectively infinitely accelerate to our linear velocity, and then infinitely deaccelerate to 0 when we stop pressing keys. That's kind of what I'm thinking. But what I will care about is how do we resolve the collisions? Okay, we don't have a conveyor belt, so we don't have to worry too much about that. On contact common. Dynamic boxes on the ramp go through all the permutations. I mean, I've been saying that for years, so it's nice to see someone else thinking the same. Ramp blocks. Again, if I could run the sample, it'd be quite nice to see this. Can I... Just in the background while I'm thinking about this. Get that cloning. On contact added. So what does that mean? Like I've added a new contact is like two things have contacted. On contact persisted. On contact removed. On character contact common. Characters going to be pushed in their own update. So we don't have other virtual characters, so I'm not too fussed about that. Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking, but I don't want other things to move me. I want to move them. So the comment from Twitch was, on contact is to do with objects in the scene moving the player. So if something comes in and we want it to move us, I want us to be infinite mass kind of, immovable, but moves other things. Then it ends. So where in this? Because if you look at the documentation, it definitely suggests that we will have to handle some sort of collision detection ourselves. But I'm. So you implement your own version of contact listener that you pass in Jolt physics when you create it, and then inherit the on contact added that passes the bodies in as arguments. Okay, so we're thinking on contact added is. Here you go. Yes, if I look to the arguments, we get a pointer to the character, and then we get to the bodies and the shape and the subshapes of the things. Oh, is there a comment in there? Okay, cool. Called when the character collides with the body. Okay, fine. So that's what we need, because this inherits from character contact listener, which is is that a built-in type? character contact listener built into the engine. And then how do I register that? Oh, it's gonna be it's such a mess. It's probably gonna be, is it in the base? So so what I'm saying is the current thinking is that you inherit from this class, and then that allows you to optionally override these, and then when we do that, we'll get reported back when we have a contact, which is fine because we can then we can log it so we can see that stuff's colliding, and then we can figure out how to resolve it from there. I suspect we will need to push the objects. We'll have to apply an impulse to the objects. But hang on, this. So I have managed to, whilst I was talking about that, build the samples. I'm just trying to figure out where the actual exe is now, because it's not obvious to me where it is. This is such a nightmare. Where's the actual? Where's the exe file? Find dot type f name star dot exe. I've got a. I don't know what boo.exe is, but I'm not entirely sure I want one. Oh wait a minute, no, I'm in the wrong place, aren't I? Hang on. CD c push the c users downloads jolt build. Okay. Samples build debug. Okay. Build debug. Oh. Oh. Okay. Right. Okay. How do I? Okay, there. So it is a built-in contact list. I'll have a look at that in a second. That's where you just want to escape is the menu. I mean, I swapped caps lock and escape, haven't I? That'll be right. Select tests. Character virtual versus spaceship. Right. Oh my goodness. Okay. Right. How does one move? So I don't know if anyone saw that. When you run this object rolls into us and does move this. I have no idea why I can't move around. Oh. Here we go. I don't know why I don't follow it around, but so that's okay. So this is definitely possible because this is what I want, right? Where I walk into something and it has some sort of impact on it. So this sample code is definitely what I want. Look how I feel. Okay, right. That's what I wanted to confirm. That was that whole hoopla, the whole song and dance there was to kind of verify that the sample code I'm reading will give us what we want. Okay. So I feel happier now, even though we've wasted nearly an hour. Not wasted. Kind of wasted. So someone was saying, I think Queco was saying the contact listener. Here we go. Right. And so this is like on contact added. Oh, loads more comments. Called after detecting a collision between a body pair, but before calling on contact added. Oh no, that's the validate. Right. Here. Called whenever a new contact point is detected. Note that this callback is called when all bodies are locked, so don't use any locking functions. Good to know. Didn't know there were any, but now we know. Body 1 and 2 will be sorted such that body 1 ID is less than body 2 ID, so body 1 may not be dynamic. Note that only active bodies will report contacts. As soon as the body goes to sleep, the contacts between their bodies and all other bodies will receive an on-contact removed callback. When contacts are added, the constraint solver has not run yet, so the collision impulse is unknown at this point. I feel like that's important. I assume collision impulse the resulting force of when two things collide. Here we go. The velocities of in-body 1 and in-body 2 are the velocities before the contact has been resolved, so you can use this to estimate the collision impulse to easily determine the volume of the impact sound to play. But because of using by dint of using the character virtual, the collisions will not be resolved anyway. So does that mean we can still estimate the collision impulse, then just apply it ourselves? This is interesting as well. So you'll tell you if there's still a collision from last update. So presumably we could apply some force to resolve it, and then if it's still there on the next update, we could apply the force again. It doesn't have to be realistic. I just want to walk around and knock some stuff off. Okay. Jesus Christ. Okay. So what does their on contact resolved do? So so there's two. Right. So I have two questions I need to answer now. One is, what do we need to do on contact added? I'm not too fussed about that because we'll probably just log it to start with. The second is, how does this get registered to be called? Like, just because we've inherited it doesn't mean by dint of how polymorphism works, someone must be calling us as a contact listener. So is there like a registered listener? Oh, here you go. Right. Set listener this. Yeah. Okay. So we can set listener. So we can, and also my other question, the third question I've just thought of is: are these pure virtual, or are they virtual? Have I got to implement every single one? Interesting, they're not pure virtual, they are abstract. So that means I am free to just ignore the ones I don't want. So I think we just do this, right? So right, we're actually going to write some code now after faffing around for however long. If my right. Right, go away, Copilot. We're going to do this. We'll do this the hard way. Right. So physics, collision, listen. No, contact listener. Okay, and then we can make ourselves a public contact listener. I think sounds good. And then from here we can implement the character virtual on contact added. I'll have one of those. Character. Ooh. Right. Oh my goodness, so much going on. Yeah, so pure virtual means it equals 0 at the end. It's really weird bit of syntax. And when you're teaching C++, it's kind of like unlike any other languages, and it's a little bit annoying. It's like, I think it basically signifies there is 0 implementation. Like, equals 0 is kind of a weird way of phrasing it, though. I would have preferred, like, pure virtual keyword. But yeah, equals 0 just means the implementers have to supply an implementation. There is no default implementation of that method. Good question, though. Good question. And this should be override. So in C++ land, as of C++ 11, so quite old now, there's the override keyword. It is not compulsory because of backwards compatibility, but if you write it, the compiler will check that there is indeed a base method for you to override. If I'd not, it just removes the annoying bug where I've mistyped a variable type here or gotten the number of arguments wrong, and C++ cannot tell a priori that this is overriding something in the base class. So it would just be like, oh, here's a new function for you. Whereas with override, it's like, okay, here you go. Like, I'll make sure that's the case for you. It's really handy for making sure you provide a base virtual destructor, because if you do like tilde derived class equals override equals default, then it will check that you've actually got one in the base class. Right. Ooh. Fun one today. I knew eventually we were going to get something where I couldn't just kind of reel off all the answers. Why is it not like my... Why is it not like my syntax? A virtual member function should not have a return. Can you not do... That's really interesting. I'm sure, I think we've had this issue before where we had to use the non-trailing return type syntax. Yeah, you have to use the type. It's kind of annoying. Alright, okay. Method. So here we go. So I've already made a mistake, right? And this is the whole point of override. So override here is like the method with override specifier override did not override any base class methods. This is exactly what I wanted. I mean, it's not what I wanted. I wanted it to compile, but I at least wanted to be told if I drop this off, it will compile. But it'll just add this as a new method and then not participate in the dynamic dispatch when you pass it around. So the question is, why is this? I think they might, if they got multiple layers of abstraction. It's definitely different, right? Because this is the actual code that this is their library code, right? And they have body, contact manifold, contact settings, and I don't. So what I wonder is, have they gone through another layer of abstraction? They've got character contact listener, which is different to contact listener, and I don't know if that is a... okay, fine. It's just overriding the wrong base class. Never mind. At least it's kind of got ish first class. It seems to have first class support for character controllers without having to do a lot of this ourselves. Congratulations. Header only Vulkan. Nice. That's fine, because I've not implemented it, which is fine. I wasn't expecting to get a link error there, but that is fine. So character controller. There's a... who am I? I'm a character controller today, aren't I? and you don't put the override keyword in the CPP file. All these are going to be pretty grim, so maybe my favorite attribute, maybe unused, maybe, it's impossible to say. Okay, so let's just do hash include log, and then, so what do you want to do, like log debug contact. Can I do the in body2 ID? I think that's like is that just an integer, or is it a class? That's a class, right? Okay. Can I get index and body array? Get index. Get a sequence number. What's the difference between an index and a sequence number? Sequence number used to check if a body ID with the same body index has been used in another body. I think I just want get index, right? I just want to show something. Maybe unused is standard C++, yes, as of, oh, when did they start introducing the attributes? Maybe 11? 14? Oh, you've got, there's a whole bunch of attributes you can use. C++ 17. There are other attributes as well that are standardized. So there's no return, carriage dependency, deprecated, fall through, maybe unused, no discard, likely, unlikely, no unique address, assume, well, that's intermediate, indeterminate, coming 26, and optimized for synchronized, which is, I think, being sort of tested. '17's pretty good. I think 17's I'd hope 17 is kind of the standard, like the default standard for a lot of places. I know it's not, and it's kind of a sweeping statement to say, but I'd hope most places manage to get to at least 17 now. It's only 8 years old now. Okay, so now I need to. Oh yeah, and now we just need to register this, right? That was with. Oh, I've got so many tabs open. Set character set listener this. So we should be able to do character set listener this. And then something polymorphism should all just work out. Use 11, nice. Still, I have worked in a place which had millions of lines of C++ 03, so I feel anyone's pain who's at least you've got lambdas. How do I? Okay, I'm expecting a lot of logs. Nope. I'm gonna get rid of this log for a start because I absolutely do not want it. But I assume they are colliding with this, right? Either way. Alright, let's just get rid of that. What was it on? 252. So register ourselves as the listener. I assume the physics engine automatically drives calling this. What are we making? I'm hoping to make a game at some point, but at the moment I just settle for the physics engine behaving. Nice. C99. Okay, right. See, this is a little bit upsetting. Why is that not firing? Oh, a lot of fun bugs today. Yes. maybe the game is just, you know, the bugs we write along the way. Okay, right. What has Jolt done then? What have they done that I've not? So they've gone. So they have a character versus character collision, but I don't think I want that because I don't care. That's rendered really weird. Why is that rendered so strangely? 938. Oh, interesting. There is the layers, isn't there? Yes, I do. Ah, right. Oh, Christ. Where did we? We did all this before, right? SG layer. Physics layer. That's what we want. Okay, we've got moving and non-moving. So they put it as moving. So I think we can reuse the same thingamajig. So let's do character controller. And just check how I did it in rigid body. I think I just used 2 underlying because we had some bugs, didn't we, where we got all this the wrong way around. So yeah, okay, fine. So I think character set layer set inner body. Oh, it's in the settings. Okay, fine. Settings inner body layer equals the 2 underlying rigid body type dynamic. Is that what we called it? Could even work. Could even work. Hey, Harand, yeah, no worries. Thanks for popping in and saying hi. Possible. I thought object layer was convert. Oh god, so many types. So inner body layer is an object layer, but I thought this was constructible. I thought that was type deft to that type. What's a physics layer when it's at home? Oh, wait a minute, am I looking at the wrong way around? I want to take the... Where do I... 2 jolt type. I have to do 2 underlying. Oh, then I have to static cast it. I remember doing this before. I should probably abstract that the way so I don't have to write that more than once. But... no, that's... Let's do this properly, I think. Isn't there like a jolt utils? And then do auto to jolt, and then I'm going to take a physics layer. Physics, what did I call it? A rigid body type, that's what I want. Rigid body type to a JPH object object layer, and then return static cast uint 16t. Actually, no, just tree. GPH object layer stood to underlying type. Okay, right, and in fact, actually, that's wrong as well because that needs to go in the implementation file. So right, okay, fine. We're near there, guys. I think. Okay, right. So now we can go back to the physics, the rigid body, and we can replace this with what I want, like something like CT that to jolt type. Nice. Okay, right. Okay, getting there. And then character controller. Probably not even gonna. It's probably not even gonna fix it. This jolt utils. To jolt rigid body type dynamic. Okay. I would say sudo. What renderer? It's a custom renderer, but it's using OpenGL. So Jolt has this concept of layers, and you can kind of separate the rigid bodies into different layers, and then that allows you to kind of, with some reasonable degree of granularity, specify which layers interact with others. And I guess if you fail to add something to a layer, then it has no idea how that's going to interact with other objects. Let's see if it works. See if it works. A little bit disappointing. I can clearly see no logs. Okay. I think this is the game today, is to at least get this logging. I've got a shape. The thing is, there's all this extra crap around, like padding and supporting volumes, and it's really not obvious to me which of these are actually required. Like, I've got an inner body shape, right? I've got this shape. I don't have an inner body shape, but this could be false, so this kind of implies that it doesn't need to be there. So character versus character collision, as far as I understand it, is if you have multiple character controls in the scene and you need to detect when they like interact. For instance, I guess you had a multiplayer game. So as far as I'm aware, I do not need this. Sets the character versus character collision interface, and that would be. So I don't think I need this. But what's interesting is that even though there's only one character in this scene, it still adds it and then it iterates through that in order to set the main contact listener. So maybe I do need it? I can't really see anything else in here that would kind of... There's also like extended update. Like, am I expected to be calling this? Like, what is this? Here you go. This function combines update, stick to floor, and walk stairs. This function serves as an example of how these functions could be combined. Before calling, call set linear velocity to update the horizontal vertical speed of the character. Typically, this is when on. This is useful. When on ground and not moving away from the ground, velocity equals get ground velocity plus horizontal speed. Blah 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 blah. Else velocity. I can also, do I just manually call check collision? Like they don't, right? Can walk stairs? I just feel like there's a lot of information here, but not a lot of like actual documentation on how it all goes together. Contrary to the character class, it doesn't use a rigid body, but moves doing collision checks only, hence the name virtual. The advantage of this is that you can determine when the character moves in the frame. Usually this can happen at a very particular point in the frame, but the downside is that other objects don't see the virtual character. To make a character virtual visible to the simulation, you can optionally create an inner rigid body through embody shape. Here we go. So maybe I need to do this, right? To make it visible to the simulation. Also, a character virtual is not tracked by the physics system, so you need to update it yourself. This also means that a call to physics system save state will not save its state. So I think I'm missing, at least I'm missing an update. Update. This is the main update function. It moves the character according to its current velocity. The character is similar to a kinematic controller in the sense that you set the velocity and the character will follow unless its collision is blocking the way. Note, it's your own responsibility to apply gravity to the character velocity. Different surface materials like ice can be emulated by getting the ground material and adjusting the velocity. And the expectation is that it just lets me know that there's been a collision. Again, I think I will have to manually resolve those collisions, potentially. So what's the difference between update and extended update? So extended update combines update, stick to floor, and walk stairs. I don't think I want stick to floor and walk stairs at the moment. What does stick to floor do? Stick to floor. This function is used to artificially keep the character to the floor. Normally when a character is on a small step and starts moving horizontally, the character will lose contact with the floor. But okay, fine. So I think I just want update. I have a 0 ground velocity. I'm not moving. Christ, that is a lot of arguments. Which is kind of annoying because do I even set a delta? Or have I just kind of assumed it's all the same? Oh, I've just hard coded it to 1/60. That's fine. Okay. So what's the... Interesting. Okay, fine. So we got gravity, we got delta time, filter that is used to check if the character collides with something in the broad phase, filter that is used to check if a character collides with a layer, with a body, with a subshape, and then potentially an allocator. So is that, I assume that's very similar to the extended update. Okay, fine. So I can look at their code to see what they passed to all these. Which is, I've lost it. Where? Computer, hello, hello. Right. So they pass in the delta time, they pass in the gravity, they have some update settings. So do I need... I don't need... good, I don't need that. That's nice. And then get the default broad phase filter for moving, get the... and... Do I have to pass in a temp? It's a reference. I have to pass in an allocator. Or memory free by the time this function returns. Guess I've got to figure out an allocator. It's like, oh, guys, so much to do. Unbelievable. Okay, I think we can go back to our character controller. I think we're going to want now auto update float delta and then all the other. I'm not worried about gravity because we're not moving. I think I only want the broad phase layer filter because these are going to be default and the default layers will be moving, so that's fine. We can take those, have some of those. I will rename them to my style though because it's not overriding something. Object layer filter, nice, like it, and then body filter, and then again I only really want the physics system to do this, so I will also pass a pass key for the physics system. Not const. And then okay, right. No, I want this below debug drawer. Okay. I think we're getting there. So now I should be able to do character dot update delta I mean, I guess gravity will be pretty standard, right? X3 0.0 F minus 9.8 F not F. Sounds like gravity to me. And then I'm going to want the object layer filter, the body filter, default, and then whatever this bloody temp allocator is. Yeah, the extended one ties a bunch of other stuff together. It might mean that we need it. I'm just kind of interested in just going what I believe to be the path of least resistance. But I'm glad someone in this, here has gone through this before, so at least I can ask questions. Okay, so what the hell is this temp allocator when it's at home? It's an M temp allocator, which means it's probably in the base. M temp. Okay. Interesting. What? Where have they defined that? Was it TMP? Don't define this, so where? Right, well, I have to go up through the class hierarchy, aren't we then? So you got character. Actually, no, I've got the source, haven't I? Physics test context.h. That made life a lot easier, didn't it? Oh, okay, fine. I've disabled the temp allocator, then I use the temp allocator malloc if I've... is this like a custom one? Why couldn't you make this simple? Disabled the temp allocator. What's the implications of that? Disables the temporary allocator, uses main to allow ascend to do its job. Okay. I think I want the temporary allocator. So I think I want temp allocator impl. APH temp allocator temp temp this that's annoying. Is it any wrapping in a unique pointer? Okay, yeah, fine. So sorry, that's a raw pointer, which means I have to remember to delete it, which I don't want to do. So C++ provides you a set primitives called smart pointers, which automatically handle that resource management for you, which is what I'm going to do now. So now I should be able to do what do they call it? Physics test context. Temp allocator. Oh, steady. Temp allocator. Impl. And then 4 times 1024 times 1024. Okay. And then now I need to pass that in as a reference, so I should be able to just do star temp allocator. Okay. Why is it not like that? I assumed temp allocator, yeah. Just see if that blends. How do you learn the stuff you need to do this? Practice. I've been a professional software engineer for about a decade now across a variety of industries. I've had the fortune to try my hands at lots of different things, different codes, forward engineering, reverse engineering. It's just experience, really. And also like tinkering and just always tinkering and playing around with stuff. Cannot convert argument 3 from the object filter to a broad phase layer filter. Have I got these the wrong way around? I have. Exciting. Obviously, I know changing the arguments of the signature isn't going to change the arguments like pass them in, but I do want to keep it consistent. No, wait a minute, that's wrong. No, I've seen what I've done. I think I wanted this because the others are defaulted, so I've actually got the wrong one. I want the objects broad phase layer filter, and that should be broad phase layer filter. No? Yeah? Could be. Okay, now. Broad phase filter. Broad phase, 2 words? I think we decided it was 2 words. Okay, now it's looking happier. Implementing hot reloading in your engine, you have to load GLAD for each DLL thread. Is there a better way to do so? OpenGL functions are available. I thought OpenGL was a bit funny about which thread you called it on. I thought OpenGL functions had to come from the main thread. So that might just be an inherent limitation with what you're doing anyway. But I mean, I guess you kind of got 2 options. One, you just use load GLAD and call it per DLL. Like if you do it at the beginning of DLL, then that's not might not be a massive issue for you. The other thing is once you've resolved the functions you want, you manually store them somewhere in some global bit of memory or shared memory or something that all the DLLs can access, and then just like when you load the DLL, pass those in. How do you have your CMake text copy shaders to the build directory? I don't, but I have done before, and it's normally just with a custom command. It's like a file copy. Let me see if I can find an example of that. What projects have I done this in before? I think I might have done it in Iris. You can write. You can just use CMake to copy files around and have it as like a post build step on a target. I don't have an example to hand, and I've not done it in this, but it's definitely doable. I'm just trying to think if I've got a decent. Because presumably you don't want to process. Are you using Vulkan and you have to like compile them first, or you just literally want to copy the text files over? Where's a good one? I don't think I've got any public repositories that show how to do that. Afraid not. Sorry, I've definitely got it in some private ones. Still no. So I'm thinking now I need. Oh, wait a minute. Not calling it, am I? Not calling it. like an absolute fool. Made myself look like a right Burke. Import. Like broad phase layer. What do they do? Something. They do a thing, don't they? Physics readme character virtual extended update. Physics system get default broad phase filter. So I want physics system get default broad phase layer. To native rigid body type dynamic. My PC suddenly went very quiet. I'm being very loud, and it's always concerning because occasionally, very occasionally, the fans in my PC stop spinning, and then I don't realise till the whole PC overheats. So I'm constant source of fun and anxiety. Oh no, it's right. The noise, because there's an air bubble stuck in the water cooler. I don't think you can hear it. I don't think the mic picks it up, but I can hear it. There's just a constant ticking noise. What are you gonna do? Get default layer filter for to. No, it's not too native, is it? It's to jolt. Apologies if someone has seen that and said something. Dynamic. And then default key. Nope. Default key. Jobs are good. To job, yeah. I think STL hash defines main away for you, so it's the right sort of shape for whatever you're doing and libraries and stuff. So I don't think it's too uncommon. It's gross, but it's not too uncommon. Why is it not? Why did really not include the utils in this? That's... Yeah, it's exactly how STL does it, or did it at one point. I don't know if it still does it. I don't think that built. I think I just ran it. Now, if this doesn't work, we'll go and add the inner shape, and if that doesn't work, then we'll be upset. Cannot be used before. Via. I've gone and made it a template, haven't I? And then ODR'd violated myself. Right. Happens to the. Well, my lights just fell off. I don't know if you can see that. Absolutely crap myself. Right, come on, give me some logs, give me some logs, give me some logs. Yeah. Look at it, look at it, look at it go, look at it go. You can take your inner shape and you can shove it. Oh, did it? Oh, does that? Did anyone? Is it doing a little bit of the collision detection for us? Like, it's not great. Oh, I didn't pin a comment telling YouTube people about Twitch. Apologies. If you're on YouTube, I'm also dual streaming on Twitch if you prefer. I'm not sure which one generates better revenue. Streaming, I kind of do stream more for the fun of it than for the monies anyway. But I'm trying to hit the next level of Twitch partnership, affiliation, whatever it is. Well, isn't that fun? Yeah, I think, if I remember correctly, Twitch gives more for the individual stream, but YouTube will can give more over the long run because of effectively the VODs and people rewatching it and stuff. And then subscriptions and stuff like that as well. So it's hard to say. The channel is monetized and I have all the monetization stuff turned on, but I definitely do. Gravity is definitely. This is definitely not giving a single rat's about gravity. Look at that. Okay, right. Yes, I know I need to set gravity myself, but I thought that's what. Is that not what the gravity field in? Oh, I've lost it now. This does. Gravity vector. The gravity vector is only used when the character is standing on top of another object to apply downward force. Oh, okay, fine. Okay, fine. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm not that fussed because again, I just kind of patch around it by the game by just not making it so I can fall off anything. This is C++. I hope. Okay, I'm pretty pleased with that. So I think now what we need to do is wire up so where we were using the WASD keys to move ourselves, we should try getting it to move the character controller and just have us just sort of fix looking at it to start with. So that means we need to. So where do you set the linear velocity? Is that what it said? So let's set linear velocity const vector 3. Something like that, do we think? And then actually what's nice is I might not have to bother with all this gubbins. So I can do what? Character set linear velocity to jolt velocity. Alright, and then I can get access to that main, put that down. So before I call PS update, let's do const auto velocity equals game vector 3 normalize walk direction and speed. So at the moment we would move the camera, but let's do have I got a character, have I got a reference to the character? Or am I still just doing ps dot character controller dot set linear velocity? Delete all my code, didn't like it anyway. Velocity. Okay, let's just see if that blends while I look at all the comments that have flown in. Commit maybe, yeah, I'll tidy up in a minute, but good point. So I will eventually tie them both up. I think it'd be useful for us to be able to see the what's happening in the bigger picture. So we want to move the capsule around and see how the collisions interact without us being like, right, like, you know, in the capsule. It's very slow, much slower than the character is. I wonder why that's so. I guess because it probably has the concept of maths, where I was using effectively no maths. I will eventually just simulate one. I'll simulate the physics and stick the camera there rather than trying to do both at the same time. Yeah, I probably should tie speed. I mean, always looking at what kind of content I can offer and what people find useful, but I'm just like a one-man band, so I'm limited in what I can kind of do. I'm pretty much, I'd say, a video a week and then 2 live streams. Sorry, a video a week. That'd be nice. 1 video a month and 2 live streams a week is, plus, you know, all the editing, all the stuff that goes around it. It's probably about the limit of what I can achieve. I need to be like, I reckon, like at least 10 times faster. Make? Where'd that come from? A weird muscle memory that I've got in the back of my mind. Yeah, we built the renderer. I mean, it's OpenGL, but we've written all the code for it. That's better. Right. It definitely has some, like, resistance to it. I can kind of feel it, but it doesn't move them around as much as I would hope. I don't know if that's by design. Oh. Right, okay, so what I think we can do is now do character controller. Position. 3 const. Character controller. Oh, I've already got position. Have I already written this? Am I going mad? I have already written this. Nice, okay. 1 step ahead of myself. So then we can do... I've got a feeling camera doesn't have a set position. I think it just has a translate. Position const vector 3 position void camera I have thought about doing kind kind of like supporter only streams and stuff. I just don't know what do, right? Because I don't want to do more on this because this is all supposed to be kind of public. So yeah, I mean, if people got ideas, I'm happy to consider it. I just don't think the fast inverse square root code is kind of viable today. I just think hardware and compilers are so good, you just don't need to do hacks like that anymore. So when I do translate, what do? I have to update the transformation mix. So I don't need to change where I'm looking at. I think I did just do this, right? I think, and then camera dot set position ps dot character controller dot position. I don't know whether I need to worry about the orientation of the character controller, if that makes sense, because it's equivalent, it's omnidirectional around that one axis, right? Or other maths words. So I wonder if I can just handle the camera can still own the orientation, because I still need to be able to look up and down and left and right, that sort of stuff, and then just the movement is handled by the character controller. I don't know if splitting those out makes sense. It feels right in my head, but also feels a little bit messy. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, right? But it's more like the separation of responsibility. I've kind of got the character controller, which is now responsible only for translation, and then orientation exists outside. But I guess only the camera cares about the orientation. The character controller doesn't actually care. So I think it's okay. Okay, I'm in there. I'm pretty low to the ground. Pretty low to the ground. Oh, okay. I don't know. This kind of feels fun. I can. It's kind of hard to explain, but I can feel the collision. Like the little visual cues that you suddenly move, or like your velocity changes and your position changes. Like, I definitely feel like it's hitting something. Can I nudge one of these off the edge? I know it's going anyway, but can I like... That's fun. That's fun. Yeah, I think I guess ultimately it probably doesn't matter, but the cameras for rendering and the character controls for physics, I kind of want to keep them separate as much as possible, and then use the actual game to join them together. Can we just bump ourselves up a little bit? Plus, I don't know, half? Let's try 1. I think that might be the whole height of the capsule. Yes, you're right. Someone was saying this, and I can't do that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, good point, Adam. I will definitely there's good comments you made. I'll definitely consider it. I'm kind of always looking to expand my offering a bit. So yeah, thanks for the insight. I appreciate it. I think I'd say we can render any asset, like any object file or WAV file, whatever it is. Whether it be particularly efficient, I don't know. It's the renderer is pretty basic. It's just a pretty standard forward renderer with HDR and gamma correction. There's no PBR. There's no deferred rendering. There's no like clustered rendering or anything like that. It's pretty basic, but it'll handle most things you'll throw at it, I think. Okay. I feel like I could be a little bit taller. I feel like I could be a little bit taller here. There's definitely a difference. I'm sure the scale between the graphics and the physics doesn't seem to quite match, because I'm sure we made the capsule 1 high, whatever 1 is in the physics world, but we seem to have to make ourselves in the graphics world 5 high. I don't know if there's a good way of kind of rectifying those. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll have a think about it. Might be something I can do on an evening. Just try. Discord is kind of on my mind at the moment. No like real plans, but it's something I'm kind of thinking about at the moment, investigating. I guess these are harder to move because they already have momentum, right? But the ones that are still, I can kind of move around because they are inert. I need to figure out the gravity as well, because it kind of pushes me up. Alright, this is cool. The green lines are a little bit annoying, but yeah, I don't know how to. I don't know how to. Ooh, am I going? Oh, I forgot. I can go up and down. Oh, I can't go below the floor though, which is exciting. Character controller, like their code, their example, which is literally all I have to go off of, seems to have no concept of mass. It's got center of mass, but has no concept of mass. On contact, add a velocity to the object you're colliding with. Now there's an interesting thought. I think yeah, I don't know if this is going to work for us as is, because if we remember correctly from the rigid body, to actually set a linear velocity, we need the body interface, and then we pass the ID to that. And I just don't think we have that here. I don't really want to bodge it into the character controller for now. So I actually it's one of the few libraries I've used is Asymp for loading FBXs. I think there's a couple of libraries around, but Asymp will load pretty much anything. I pack it into a custom binary format for loading, but I just use that to pass it. Yeah, the skybox is just a cube with a 3D texture. It uses a little bit of trickery to always be it's basically always a unit thing, which doesn't move with the camera and always appears bigger than everything else. But the shader for it is pretty small. Asset shade. Do I not have a? Oh, is it cube? Is that right? Yeah, you just don't use the model. It has no model matrix. So it always appears the same. And then you strip off the translation components of the view. So again, it doesn't move with the camera, and it basically then always gets effectively wrapped around you. We need time today, so let's just comment out what we've got. Nope, let's not update our tooling now. That sounds like a terrible idea. Please help. Go away. Okay, what have we got? We've got So we did abstract away the jolt util, so commit better handle rigid body type. And then we did update character controller in physics system. Let me sort of allow set position of camera. And then my favorite commit message in the world, integrate changes into main. 4T. Stream 28. Oh, wow. Yeah. just playing for time now. Cool. Okay. I wasn't. I think that's kind of a good. Well, hang on. Oh, hang on. Got a button for this. Ooh. I was kind of hoping we would get that far today, so I'm quite pleased with that. I'm trying to think what's going to be next. I think we've got enough parts to start trying to flesh out a game of sorts. Like we're rendering, we've got physics. I'm going to ignore sound because I really don't want to think about it. Like I think we've got enough stuff to start tweaking. I don't want to the whole point of this series is to only write the code that we need at the time, and I feel like writing any more code now will just be trying to speculate on what we need. Like we clearly need to tweak the character controller because it doesn't feel quite right. It moves around. We clearly need to add gravity. Clearly need to figure out the masses. But I want those decisions to be driven by like the end goal. So I think we need to kind of start thinking about what that end goal is. So my original plan for a game, and I think we're going to start trying to flesh this out now, is some sort of puzzle game. We're going to use all the assets we've got at the moment. So I like the idea that you're kind of in a room. Maybe we'll create a room or we'll just use that platform. And there are objects in the room that are manipulated based on how you move around the space. So some of the objects might move in tandem with you, some of them might move the opposite way to you, stuff like that. So I've got a laundry list of like fun mechanics like that. I think we might just start coding those up and just seeing if that is fun at all. In my mind it seems like interesting because we could maybe come up with like 10-20 levels where these all interact. So like, you have to the whole gimmick is you kind of have to think about how you're going to move through the space in order to get they have to get them to like a target position. So I think that's what we're going to try and do next, and then we'll just fix up the terrible code as we go along. I will also try and take a snapshot of the code at this point and tidy it up and open source it. But it's just when I get time because I'm really, really in the depths of the next video at the moment. It's as always more complicated than I thought it was going to be. And I really want to try and get that done as well. So we'll see. Portal without the portals, like super simple. Do you know what I mean? Like we'll literally start off and we'll just get something to move like in parallel. I think we can have like a whole bunch of like classes which just represent different mechanics, and then we can just start building them up. That's kind of my plan. That's my idea. And if it's just a bit shit, we'll go and do something else. Do I have a free gift for YouTube people? Hang on. I do. Right. I guess everyone probably knows this by now, but if you don't, YouTube kindly allows me to gift 10 channel memberships a month. So I have my final in batches of 5. So here's my second 5. We can have a look, see if there's anyone to rate. I'll have a quick look. Whilst we're doing that, let's have a look. Same category. C++. Congrats. Yes, so you will get early access to the next video when it's done, assuming I do it within a month, which I'm hoping is going to be the case. Is anyone... Literally no one doing C++? I find the Twitch UI a little bit irksome. "3D falling sand simulation C++." Was that the guy we raided last time? I can't remember. No, I think it's different. He's on stream 18. He's doing 2 hours. And he's got 3 people with him. Let's do that. Cool. Anyway, thanks everyone for coming along. I had a great time. We'll definitely be doing this again Wednesday, and we'll start thinking about some game mechanics, which should be fun. See you guys soon. Thanks for coming along. How do I end this?